The 1990 D United States quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin continued the familiar design that had been used for decades, showing the nation's first president on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. The D Mint mark signifies that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary production facilities of the U.S. Mint. Denver has produced billions of circulation coins since it began operations in the early 20th century, and in 1990, it was responsible for a large share of all quarters entering everyday commerce. The obverse of the 1990 D quarter features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. This design was originally adapted from a bust of Washington by Jean-Antoine Houdon, one of the most famous 18th-century sculptors. Around Washington's profile are the inscriptions Liberty above his head and In God We Trust to the left, with the date 1990 placed below. The D Mint mark appears just to the right of the bow in Washington's hair ribbon, near the bottom of the obverse. The phrase In God We Trust has appeared on nearly all U.S. coins since the 19th century and continues to serve as a reminder of America's national motto. On the 1990 D quarter, the motto is sharp and clearly legible, typically struck in a neat sans serif font. The word liberty at the top represents one of the nation's founding ideals, emphasizing that freedom and democracy are core principles of the United States. Its placement above Washington's head symbolizes the connection between the nation's first president and the enduring value of liberty. The date, 1990, on the obverse identifies the year of minting, not necessarily the year the coin was put into circulation. Millions of coins struck in one year can circulate for decades, often showing the wear of time and countless hands exchanging them. The reverse design, also created by John Flanagan, depicts a heraldic bald eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle clutches a bundle of arrows in its talons, symbolizing readiness for defense, and below it is an olive branch, representing peace. Above the eagle's head is the inscription, United States of America, while directly beneath it appears the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This motto reflects the unity of the states forming one nation. At the bottom of the reverse, the denomination quarter dollar is displayed, clearly identifying the coin's value as 25 cents. The lettering is bold and widely spaced, a hallmark of the Flanagan design. The edge of the 1990 D quarter is reeded, meaning it has a series of fine grooves cut around its circumference. Reeded edges were originally used to prevent coin clipping, the illegal practice of shaving small amounts of precious metal from coins. By 1990, U.S. quarters were made not of silver, but of a copper-nickel-clad composition. The outer layers are 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This gives the coin its characteristic silvery color with a hint of reddish tone visible on the EDG. The diameter of the coin is 24.26 millimeters, and it weighs 5.67 grams. Its thickness is approximately 1.75 millimeters, consistent with other clad quarters produced during this era. In total, the Denver Mint struck approximately 927,638,181 Washington quarters in 1990, nearly 1 billion pieces. This massive production run makes the 1990 D quarter a very common coin in circulation. Because of its large mintage, the 1990 D quarter holds minimal value in circulated condition, typically only its face value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated or mint state examples can command a small premium among collectors. Mint state, MS, coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC may sell for $1 to $10 in lower uncirculated grades, and up to around $50 to $75 for coins graded MS67 or higher, depending on luster and strike quality. Proof coins, which are special collector versions with mirror-like finishes, were only produced at the San Francisco Mint in 1990, bearing an S Mint mark. Therefore, a 1990 D-proof quarter does not exist. Only circulation strikes. Collectors often look for die varieties, mint errors, or other anomalies that make a 1990 D. Quarter unique. Examples include off-center strikes, double dies, or clipped planchets, which can add significant collector value. The Washington Quarter Series ran with this design from 1932 until 1998. The 1990 D is part of the later clad era, which started in 1965 when the mint transitioned away from silver coinage due to rising silver prices. Though the 1990 D quarter may seem ordinary, it represents an important chapter in U.S. numismatic history, a time when coinage design remained stable even as the nation's economy, technology, and minting processes evolved. Each coin from this year was struck using high-speed presses capable of producing hundreds of coins per minute, showcasing the mint's efficiency and technological advancement. The Denver Mint used master hubs and dies derived from the original Flanagan design. Over the decades, these dies were modified slightly to sharpen details or adjust relief levels for better striking on modern. The portrait of George Washington on the 1990 D quarter retains the dignified expression and classical style that have made it a lasting symbol of American leadership. In circulated examples, the high points of Washington's hair, cheek, and jaw are usually the first to show wear, followed by flattening of the eagle's breast feathers on the reverse. Collectors who specialize in assembling complete date and mint mark sets of Washington quarters include the 1990 D as a standard issue. It fills an essential spot in any 20th century U.S. coin collection. Although the coin's intrinsic metal value is only a few cents, its historical and cultural worth far exceeds that. It continues to circulate as a testament to the durability of U.S. coinage design. The "In God We Trust" motto, first appearing on coins during the Civil War era, remains a unifying national statement, and its presence on the 1990 D quarter reinforces the country's heritage and beliefs. The Denver Mint's D mark connects each coin to its origin, reflecting the long tradition of minting coins in multiple U.S. cities: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and occasionally West Point. Despite its age, many 1990 D quarters still appear in everyday change, showing how durable the copper-nickel alloy is and how enduring the Washington design has proven to. Ultimately, the 1990 D United States quarter dollar is both a common piece of modern currency and a small artifact of national history, a simple yet powerful reminder of America's enduring symbols, ideals, and craftsmanship. Next top. The 1991 The United States quarter dollar is a part of the long-standing Washington Quarter Series, which has been produced by the United States Mint since 1932 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. The D Mint mark, located on the obverse side just to the right of Washington's ponytail, indicates that this coin was minted in Denver, one of the two primary U.S. mints for circulation coins, the other being Philadelphia, no mint mark. The obverse of the coin features a profile portrait of George Washington, facing left, which was originally designed by John Flanagan in 1932 and has been used with only minor modifications since then. Above Washington's head is the motto, "In God We Trust," a declaration of the nation's faith and moral foundation, which first appeared on U.S. coins during the Civil War era in 1864 and became a standard feature on quarters starting in 1932. The word liberty arches over the top of Washington's head, reflecting the nation's core principle of freedom, while the year of minting, 1991, is positioned directly below the portrait, grounding the coin in its historical and economic context. On the reverse side, the coin displays the classic eagle design, with a heraldic bald eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing the United States' readiness for both war and peace. Above the eagle's head is the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, which emphasizes the unity of the original 13 colonies into a single nation. The inscription, United States of America, curves along the upper rim, while the denomination, quarter dollar, is inscribed along the bottom, establishing its legal value and role in everyday commerce. The coin has a composition of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, giving it the familiar silvery appearance and durability characteristic of clad coins used in circulation since 1965. The diameter of the coin is 24.26 millimeters, with a thickness of 1.75 millimeters and a weight of 5.67 grams, making it easily recognizable by touch and sight. The edge is reeded, with 119 grooves, which historically served as an anti-counterfeiting measure and as a tactile guide. The 1991 D quarter is part of the broader series minted during the early 1990s, a period marked by both high circulation and the increasing interest of collectors in mint marks, proof coins, and error varieties. While the coin is commonly found in general circulation and thus typically has a modest collector value, its condition, such as uncirculated or proof-grade specimens, can significantly increase its worth. The combination of historical symbolism, national mottos, and meticulous design reflects the United States' effort to balance artistry, patriotism, and practical utility in coinage, making the 1991 D Washington quarter both a functional piece of currency and a small but enduring artifact of American history and culture. The 1992 P United States The 1992 P United States quarter dollar, often simply called the Washington quarter, is a coin minted by the United States Mint as part of the long-running Washington Quarter series that began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The 1992 issue belongs to the later years of the original Washington Eagle reverse design, before the series transitioned to the 50-state quarters program in 1999. The P Mint mark beneath Washington's neck identifies that this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the nation's primary coin-producing facilities. Like all quarters produced for general circulation from 1965 through 1998, the 1992 P quarter is made from a clad composition, a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it the silver-colored appearance we associate with modern U.S. coins. Its diameter is 24.26 millimeters, its thickness 1.75 millimeters, and its weight 5.67 grams. The reeded edge, consisting of 119 tiny grooves, was originally a security feature to prevent shaving off small amounts of precious metal, a practice common in earlier silver coinage. The obverse of the coin features the left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, based on a bust sculpted in 1786 by Jean-Antoine Houdon, considered one of the most lifelike depictions of the first U.S. president. Surrounding Washington's bust are the inscriptions Liberty across the top, In God We Trust to the left, and the date, 1992, centered below the truncation of the neck. The mint mark, P, appears just right of Washington's ponytail ribbon. Each of these inscriptions carries deep historical significance. The word liberty has appeared on every U.S. coin since the nation's founding, symbolizing the core American value of freedom and independence. The motto In God We Trust, which first appeared on U.S. coins during the Civil War era in 1864, was officially adopted as the national motto in 1956, reflecting the United States' spiritual and cultural heritage. Its placement beside the portrait of Washington reinforces both the respect for divine providence and the moral grounding the founders hoped the nation would maintain. Turning to the reverse, the 1992 P quarter features the heraldic eagle design, which had appeared continuously on the reverse of Washington quarters since 1932. The eagle is depicted with wings outstretched, perched upon a bundle of arrows, symbolizing the nation's readiness to defend itself. Beneath the arrows lies an olive branch, representing America's desire for peace. Together, they form a delicate balance between strength and diplomacy, ideals at the heart of the Republic's identity. The inscription, United States of America, arches across the top of the coin, and the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, appears directly above the eagle's head, signifying the unity of the original 13 colonies into one nation. Below the eagle are the words quarter dollar, indicating the coin's denomination of 25 cents. The positioning of the eagle and text creates a symmetrical and authoritative composition that has become one of the most familiar images in American currency design. The motto E pluribus unum itself has roots in the Great Seal of the United States, adopted in 1782. It captures the essence of the American experiment, a union formed from a diversity of states and peoples. On the quarter, This inscription acts as both a reminder of the country's founding unity and a celebration of its continuing strength through diversity. Together, the three mottos, Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, form a philosophical triad representing freedom, faith, and unity, the cornerstones of American identity. Their repetition across U.S. coins and currency reinforces these ideals in the daily lives of citizens, connecting everyday transactions to the nation's enduring principles. From a numismatic perspective, the 1992 P quarter is not rare in circulation, as the Philadelphia Mint produced over 464 million pieces that year. However, collectors often value examples that have remained in pristine, uncirculated condition. Brilliant uncirculated or proof-like specimens exhibit sharp details, particularly in Washington's hair curls and the eagle's feathers, as well as full luster across the fields. When preserved properly, such coins can reveal the precision of modern minting technology, the mirror-like surfaces, the fine reading, and the subtle transitions of relief that bring life to Flanagan classic design. There also exist proof versions of the 1992 quarter, struck at the San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark, using specially polished dies and planchets to produce a highly reflective background and frosted devices. These coins were included in U.S. mint-proof sets and are cherished for their aesthetic quality rather than for circulation. Historically, the Washington quarter's origin in 1932 reflected a growing movement to honor national heroes on U.S. coinage. Prior to this, American coins predominantly featured symbolic representations of liberty rather than real individuals. Washington, as the father of the nation and the model of civic virtue, was a fitting figure to break this tradition. The design was intended to be a one-year commemorative issue, but its popularity led to permanent adoption, replacing the earlier standing Liberty Quarter. Over the ensuing decades, the Washington Quarter became a symbol of stability, its design changing little even as the nation evolved through wars, technological revolutions, and social transformations. Thus, the 1992 P coin stands at the end of an era. It represents the last few years before the Mint embarked on the massive redesign project that would celebrate each state's heritage beginning in 1999. From a broader cultural perspective, holding a 1992 P quarter offers a tangible link to the early 1990s, a period marked by the end of the Cold War, the rise of the information age, and a renewed sense of American optimism. Coins like these circulate silently through millions of hands, bearing the same inscriptions that have anchored the nation's identity for centuries. Every mark, scratch, and bit of wear on the coin tells a small story, perhaps of commerce, of daily labor, or of travel, uniting countless individual lives in a shared economic and cultural experience. In summary, the United States quarter dollar 1992 P embodies far more than its face value of 25 cents. It is a compact work of art, a historical document, and a symbol of the American spirit. Its inscriptions, Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, are not mere words but declarations of belief and identity. The Philadelphia minted coin, through its portrait of George Washington and its majestic eagle, continues a lineage of design and meaning that stretches back to the founding of the Republic. Whether admired by collectors or simply passed across a counter, the 1992 P quarter stands as a lasting testament to America's ideals, its craftsmanship, and its enduring faith in unity, freedom, and divine guidance. Next top. The 1993 P United States quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The P mint mark indicates that this particular coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most historically important mints in the U.S., established in 1792. In 1993, millions of these quarters were produced for circulation, as the coin was the primary 25-cent denomination used daily by Americans in commerce. Like other Washington quarters minted from 1965 through 1998, the 1993 P quarter is composed of a copper-nickel-clad mixture, specifically an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, which replaced the earlier 90% silver composition after rising silver prices in the mid-1960s. The coin weighs about 5.67 grams, has a reading of 119 edge grooves, and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter. The obverse front of the coin features the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, based on a bust sculpted by the French artist Jean-Antoine Houdon in 1786. Across the top of the coin appears the legend Liberty, representing one of the core ideals of the American nation. Just below Washington's chin are the words, "In God We Trust," the national motto of the United States, officially adopted in 1956 but first used on coins during the Civil War era. Beneath Washington's portrait, the date, 1993, is inscribed, signifying the year of minting. The mint mark P can be seen to the right of Washington's ponytail, identifying it as a product of the Philadelphia Mint. The obverse design remained largely unchanged until 1999, when the 50-state quarters program began. On the reverse back of the coin, the central design features a bold American bald eagle with wings spread wide, clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons, a traditional symbol of the nation's readiness to defend itself. Below the arrows lies an olive branch, representing the United States' preference for peace, thus uniting the dual themes of strength and diplomacy. The phrase "e pluribus unum," meaning "out of many one," appears above the eagle's head. This Latin motto refers to the unity of the original 13 colonies into one federal nation. At the top rim of the coin are the words "United States of America," while the denomination quarter dollar is inscribed along the lower rim. The lettering and imagery of the reverse are symbolic not only of the country's heritage, but also of the values of independence, resilience, and unity. From a numismatic perspective, the 1993 P quarter is generally considered common, as tens of millions were minted, approximately 639 million coins, according to U.S. Mint records. In circulated condition, it usually holds only face value, 25 cents, though coins preserved in exceptional mint state, MS, condition can attract collector interest. A pristine example graded MS 67 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC might be worth $15 to $40 or more, depending on strike quality, luster, and overall eye appeal. The Philadelphia issues tend to show softer strikes compared to their Denver, D, counterparts, so well-struck examples are somewhat scarcer and more desirable among specialists. The symbolism of this coin extends beyond its face value. Each element, the portrait of Washington, the words Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, reflects the philosophical foundation of the American Republic. The inclusion of In God We Trust embodies the moral and spiritual dimension of the nation's identity, while liberty emphasizes personal and political freedom. E Pluribus Unum highlights the unity and diversity of the American people. Even the eagle's arrows and olive branch echo the balance between peace and defense that has shaped U.S. foreign policy for centuries. By 1993, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for over 60 years, making it one of the most recognizable coins in American pocket change. It bridged generations, appearing in both silver and clad compositions, and eventually paved the way for the 50-state quarters program, 1999 to 2008, which rejuvenated public interest in coin collecting. The 1993 P quarter thus represents the final era of the classic Washington design before that modern numismatic renaissance. Many collectors keep 1993 P quarters in albums as part of a complete clad Washington quarter, date and mint set, spanning from 1965 to 1998. Although most 1993 P quarters are ordinary circulation coins, a few notable error varieties have been discovered, such as double-die obverse, off-center strikes, or coins with partial missing cladding. Such mint errors can significantly increase a coin's value, with prices ranging from a few dollars to several hundred, depending on the rarity and visibility of the flaw. The presence of sharp details in Washington's hair, clear lettering in God We Trust, and a full rim strike can distinguish a high-quality specimen from the average circulation piece. In conclusion, the 1993 P. Washington Quarter is a small but meaningful piece of American history. Though not rare, it embodies more than 2 centuries of national ideals, artistry, and minting tradition. Its mottos, Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, continue to remind Americans of their shared principles and the enduring unity of a diverse nation. Whether found in an old coin jar or preserved in a collector's album, the 1993 P Quarter serves as both currency and cultural artifact, a daily symbol of America's democratic heritage, and a tangible link between the founding era of George Washington and the modern age of the United States. Mint next top. The 1994 United States Quarter Dollar, struck at the Denver Mint, is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, one of the most recognized and enduring coin designs in American numismatics. The Washington Quarter was originally introduced in 1932, created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and it has remained in continuous production, though with design variations, ever since. The 1994 issue represents one of the last years of the Heraldic Eagle Reverse, before the series transitioned to the State Quarters program in 1999, which brought 50 unique designs celebrating each state of the Union. Historical context and minting. In 1994, the United States Mint operated 4 production facilities capable of striking circulating coinage: Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, San Francisco, S, and West Point, W. Of these, only Philadelphia and Denver struck quarters for general circulation that year. The D Mint mark, located to the right of Washington's ponytail ribbon on the obverse, indicates the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, located in Denver, Colorado. Over 880 million quarters were produced there in 1994, making the coin common in circulation, though examples in pristine, uncirculated condition are of interest to collectors. During the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint's quarter production reflected a robust American economy and the widespread use of coin-operated machines, from payphones and vending machines to laundromats and arcades, making quarters a high-demand denomination. Each 1994 D quarter has a face value of 25 cents, but in the collectible market, its value depends on condition, mint luster, and strike quality. Most circulated examples retain only their intrinsic face value, but mint state, MS, specimens graded MS, 65 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC may fetch several dollars due to their pristine surfaces and sharp details. Physical specifications. The Washington Quarter of 1994 adheres to the specifications established in 1965, following the end of silver coinage for circulation. Each coin is composed of a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, with a pure copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel alloy. The coin's weight is 5.67 grams, its diameter is 24.26 millimeters, and it has 119 reeds along its edge. These features make it both durable for circulation and easily distinguishable by touch. The change from silver to clad in 1965 was part of a larger shift away from precious metals in U.S. coinage, as the rising value of silver made it impractical for everyday commerce. Obverse design. George Washington. The obverse front of the 1994 D quarter features the classic bust of George Washington, the first president of the United States, sculpted by John Flanagan. Flanagan design was adapted from a bust by the neoclassical sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon, which was created from life when Washington posed for him at Mount Vernon in 1785. The portrait captures Washington in a dignified, left-facing profile, symbolizing leadership, integrity, and the spirit of the nation's founding. Above Washington's head arcs the word Liberty, one of the most important American ideals. The placement and size of the word emphasize the central value upon which the United States was built. Just below the chin, in smaller font, appears the national motto, In God We Trust, officially adopted for coinage in 1956 but used on U.S. coins as early as the Civil War era. This phrase represents the country's historical reliance on divine providence and its spiritual heritage. Beneath the portrait, the date, 1994, marks the year of minting, while the small d mint mark identifies its Denver origin. Together, these inscriptions provide both temporal and geographical context to the coin's creation. Reverse design, the heraldic eagle. The reverse back design of the 1994 D quarter features the heraldic eagle, also designed by John Flanagan. This design had been in use since 1932, representing the strength, unity, and sovereignty of the United States. The majestic bald eagle, the nation's official bird, is shown with outstretched wings, clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons, symbolizing readiness to defend the nation. Below the eagle lies an olive branch, representing the pursuit of peace. Together, these elements convey a balance between power and diplomacy, reflecting the American ideal of peace through strength. Above the eagle's head is the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This ancient motto dates back to the founding of the Republic and represents the unity of the many states forming a single nation. It is one of the earliest mottos of the United States, appearing on coins since 1795. Encircling the eagle are the inscriptions United States of America and quarter dollar, denoting the country of origin and the coin's denomination. The layout is symmetrical and bold, with the eagle at the center commanding attention and authority. Artistic and symbolic meaning. Every design element of the 1994 D quarter contributes to the broader narrative of American identity. The combination of Washington's portrait and the heraldic eagle encapsulates both the birth of the nation and its enduring commitment to liberty, unity, and democracy. The inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum together represent the philosophical foundation of the United States, freedom of the individual under divine guidance within a united republic. The quarter also serves as a miniature piece of art and history circulating in everyday life. Though billions were minted, each one embodies careful craftsmanship and the weight of national symbolism. Collectors often appreciate the 1994 D for its position as a late classic issue, marking the end of an era before the bold experimentation of the 50-state quarter series began in 1999. Minting technology and quality. By 1994, the U.S. Mint had transitioned to modernized coin presses capable of producing hundreds of coins per minute with precise consistency. Dies were machine-engraved from master hubs, reducing variation between issues. However, collectors sometimes seek out die varieties, errors, and double dies, which can occur if the die shifts slightly during the hubbing process. A few 1994 D quarters display minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or weakly struck details, which, while common, add a unique dimension to coin collecting. High-quality uncirculated coins are often found in U.S. mint sets sold to collectors, sealed in protective packaging to preserve their luster. These coins exhibit a brilliant, satiny finish and sharp details, ideal for those seeking specimens in mint state 65 to 67 grades. Proof versions of the 1994 quarter were also struck at the San Francisco Mint, bearing an S mint mark, but those are not the same as the Denver minted coins. Cultural and collectible significance. Though the 1994 D quarter remains a common coin in circulation, it occupies a meaningful place in the broader story of American numismatics. It represents the last decade of the pre-statehood Washington quarters, a design that had endured for over 60 years. For younger collectors, finding a 1994 D in pocket change can serve as an introduction to coin collecting, a gateway to understanding the artistry, symbolism, and history embedded in everyday money. In circulated condition, the coin's value typically remains at 25 cents, but in uncirculated condition, especially,